All praises and great glory, family. Welcome back again for another Sabbath lesson. We are doing Genesis 21 today. It's time to get real, family. It's time to get raw and brutally honest. Let me tell you, this chapter is packed, I tell you, with lessons that our people need to hear today in 2024. No sugarcoating, no fluff, just straight truth, family. Because we're going to walk this line by line, and we're not leaving any stone unturned. You're going to see how the Most High moves, why patience is key, and why Israel today better wake up and stop playing games with our destiny. Because every verse has something for us. So grab your Bible, open up, and let's get to work. We going to start by reading, brother, Genesis 21, 1 through 3 for me. And we start from there.
And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac.
So the Lord visited Sarah. Let's not skip over this, family, because this is where we always get tripped up. The Most High visited Sarah. This means he came through on his promise. But here's the thing. He didn't show up on Abram's timeline. He didn't show up when Sarah thought he should. No, he showed up when he said he would. How many of you are sitting here today have been waiting on the Most High to show up in your life? And because you didn't see him move on your watch, you started doubting. You started thinking, maybe I need to help the Most High out a little. Sound familiar? That's exactly what Sarah and Abram did back in Genesis 16, family. Trying to rush the process, bringing Hagar into the mix. They thought they could assist the Most High's plan. And what did that get them, family? A mess. A whole lot of drama that could have been avoided. But you see how the Most High works, right? He's not bound by your impatience. He's not tripped up by your lack of faith. He'll show up exactly when he said he would. And guess what? He don't need your help, family. Let me make that abundantly clear. He don't need your help. You don't need to manipulate, plot, or scheme to make his promises happen. You just need to sit your behind down and wait. Harsh? Yeah, but true. And we know this. We go over to the book of Numbers, chapter 13, or 23, sorry. Chapter 23 of Numbers. We read verse 19. Again, that's Numbers chapter 23 and verse 19. What does it say about the Most High?
It says, God is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Hath he said, and shall he not do it? Or hath he spoken, and shall he not make it good?
Did you catch that, family? The Most High don't lie. He's not out here playing games with us. If he said it, he will do it, period. The problem is, we're so damn impatient. We start thinking we know better than the creator of the universe. That's the height of arrogance. But that's where we at in 2024, right? Thinking we can outplan the Most High. Sit down and humble yourself, family. He continues, as he had said. Notice this phrase, as he had said. Family, the Most High's word is power. When he speaks, it's as good as done. But here's the thing. Just because he says it doesn't mean it's going to happen the next day. Sometimes the waiting period is a test of your faith. Are you willing to trust him when things look impossible? Because Sarah was old, y'all. Her womb was basically a tomb at this point. But the Most High specializes in doing the impossible. When he speaks, nothing else matters. Not your circumstances, not your doubts, not even your past mistakes. Let's go over to the book of Isaiah real quick. Chapter 55. That's the book of Isaiah, chapter 55. And we read verse 11. Check this out.
So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it.
You see that right there, family? Right there. When the Most High speaks, his word never comes back void. It always, I repeat, it always accomplishes what he sets out for it to do. So if he's spoken a promise over your life, you better believe it's going to happen, whether it takes 5 minutes or 50 years. The problem is we want microwave blessings, but serve a God who works on his own divine timeline. And that's something that you got to deal with, family. It may not come now, but you got to wait and trust that it's going to come. This society has given us this impatience. It has bred this impatience in all of us. Instant gratification everywhere. You got a phone, you can look up stuff instantly. Instantly, instant information. You don't got money for nothing? Hey, you got a credit card. Instant gratification. And that has spilled over into our faith. So we expect the Most High to work just like a credit card will or just like our smartphone will, instantly. But it don't work like that, family. The Most High is not bound by anything. He is the one that makes the rules. He sets the timeline. And we need to understand that because we are very impatient in 2024. We be getting impatient, and that impatience makes us lose faith. It makes us start doubting if he's ever going to do what he said he's going to do. So we continue. And the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken, the deliverance of the promise. Now let's talk about it. This is where the rubber meets the road, family. This is where the promise finally manifests. And no, some of y'all, I know, y'all are tired, waiting for that moment in your life. But understand this, when, I repeat, when the Most High moves, it's going to be exactly how he said it. He's not going to half step. He's not going to give you some bootleg version of the blessing. When it's time for the promise to come forth, it's going to be exactly how he spoke it into existence. But here's the catch, family. Are you ready to receive it? That's the point. Because some of y'all have been waiting so long, you lost faith. You've grown bitter. You've forgotten what it means to walk in faith. So when the Most High finally does what he said, you're standing there looking confused. Don't get so caught up in your waiting that you forget to celebrate when he moves, family. Because if we go over to the book of Hebrews 10 and 23, look what the writer of Hebrews says here. Again, that's Hebrews chapter 10, verse number 23.
Let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering, for he is faithful that promised.
Hold fast, Israel. Don't waver. The Most High is faithful to his promises. The question is, are you faithful in your waiting? Are you holding on to the promise, or have you let it slip? Because I'm here to tell you, he's going to do exactly what he said. But you better be ready when it happens. And so we move to verse 2. Look at this. For Sarah conceived. Look at that right there. Sarah conceived. Now remember back in Genesis 16, when Sarah was out here trying to scheme her way into a child through Hagar. Y'all remember that? That's what happens when we try to force the Most High's hand. But now it's the Most High's time. Not Sarah's, not Abram's. The child of promise comes when the Most High says it's time. How many of you know what it feels like to birth something out of season? You're trying to rush God's plan, and you end up with an Ishmael instead of an Isaac. You end up with a blessing that's half-baked because you didn't know how to wait. And now you're stuck with the consequences of your impatience. But when the Most High moves, it's perfect. Sarah conceived because it was time, family. Not because she manipulated it, not because she forced anything. It was divine timing. And we know when Solomon says, if we go over to Ecclesiastes 3:1, look at what he says here. Ecclesiastes 3:1, look at this.
To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven.
There's a time for everything, family. And if you can't learn to recognize the season you're in, you're going to cause yourself a world of unnecessary pain. Some of y'all are trying to reap in a season when you're supposed to be sowing. You're out here trying to force a harvest in winter. Sit down and learn the lesson of divine timing. Just relax. Have faith. Because look, Sarah bare Abraham a son in his old age, continuing in verse 2. Abraham was old, family. Sarah's womb was dead. But guess what? The Most High doesn't give a damn about your limitations. He don't care about your age. He don't care about your background, your race, your finances, or your health. When he speaks, everything in this universe bends to his will. Abraham was 100 years old. Sarah was 90. By human standards, they were past the point of no return. But here's the thing. The Most High specializes in the impossible. He takes what the world says is dead and brings it to life. Kind of like us, right? Weren't we spiritually dead, family? And now he's bringing us to life all around this world. Our people are waking up. He takes what looks like failure and he flips it into what? Success. The Most High don't care about your excuses, family. He don't care about what you think is too hard. When he says it's time. If we go to Romans 4, 19 through 21, we're going to read that. Romans 4, 19 through 21. Check this out.
And being not weak in faith, he considered not his own body now dead, when he was about 100 years old, neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb. He staggered not at the promise of God through unbelief, but was strong in faith, giving glory to God, and being fully persuaded that what he had promised, he was able also to perform.
Right there, family. Abraham didn't trip on his limitations. He didn't start whining about how old he was. He didn't let the deadness of Sarah's womb stop him from what? Believing the promise. And that's where we need to be in 2024. Stop looking at your limitations and start looking at the Most High's ability to what? Override those limitations. You're out here limiting the creator of the universe because you're stuck in your own head. So she gave him a son when? At the set time of which God had spoken to him. Let me stress this part. At the set time. The Most High works on appointed time. Not your time, not my time, his time. And when that time hits, nothing, and I repeat, nothing can stop it. Not your enemies, not your circumstances, not even your own mistakes. When the Most High says it's time, the universe aligns to make it happen. You see it right now with our awakening of our people. The heathen can try to stop it all they want to, but the Most High says it's time. We shedding off the false doctrines. We shedding off the false history. And the heathen can't do nothing about it. Each day, more Israelites wake up to who they are. And there's nothing the heathen can do. They can try to silence it, try to put out a fire over here, but guess what? The Most High gonna make another fire over here. It's fruitless, family. We gonna arrive at the station whenever the Most High say so. The heathen can try to tap on the brakes all they want to, but that train gonna still move. But the problem is, today, we want to rush the appointed time. We're so used to instant gratification, as I said before, that we forget the Most High operates on a whole different timeline. His timing is perfect. Even when it doesn't make sense to us, how do we know? If we go to the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 3. Again, that's the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. Look at what the prophet says here.
For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end of it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry.
The vision, the promise, is for an appointed time. It might seem delayed to you, but trust me, it's right on time. The question is, are you willing to wait for it? And we go to verse 3. called his name Isaac. So Abram called his son Isaac, which means laughter. Let me break this down for you, family. Abram and Sarah were laughing when the Most High first told them they were going to have a child at their old age back in Genesis 17 and in Genesis 18. But that laughter, family, of disbelief turned into laughter of joy. Why? Because the Most High always has the last laugh. Some of you are in a season where it feels like the Most High's promises are a joke. You're laughing in disbelief like, yeah, right, that's never going to happen to me. But when the Most High fulfills that promise, you're going to look back and laugh at your own doubt. Trust me, I've done it plenty of time in this truth. Plenty of time. I look back and I'm like, oh, man. And I was sitting there doubting him. All I could do is laugh. And I'm sure y'all have done the same. That's why Abram named his son Isaac, because the Most High turned his doubt into joy. If we go over to Psalm 126 in verse number 2, look at this. Look at what the Most High going to do for you. Psalm 126 in verse number 2. Whenever you're ready, brother.
Then was our mouth filled with laughter and our tongue with singing. Then said they among the heathen, the Lord hath done great things for them.
Look at that right there, family. When the Most High fulfills his promises, your mouth will be filled with laughter and your tongue with singing. The same people who doubted you, the same people who laughed at your situation are going to have to sit back and watch as the Most High does great things for you. And family, we just getting started. This is just a warm up. The Most High is already dropping gems on us, and we're only a few verses in. So we're going to continue reading this book. We're going to read verses 4, 5, and 6. And number 7, 4 through 7.
And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old, as God had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. And Sarah said, God hath made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me. And she said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age.
Now focus in here, verse number 4. Abraham circumcised his son Isaac. Now this verse right here, it's all about what? Obedience, family. Abraham didn't wait. He didn't question. He didn't try to skirt around it. He circumcised Isaac at 8 days old, just like the Most High commanded him. This wasn't some optional ritual. This was a commandment, and it was a sign of the covenant between the Most High and Israel. Now let's get real for a second. You know what our problem is today, right? We want the blessings of the covenant today, but we don't want to keep the terms of the covenant. We want the Most High to come through for us, but we're out here living reckless, breaking laws, ignoring his commandments, and then wondering why we're not seeing the promises manifest. Abraham didn't play around with this, family. His son Isaac was the child of the promise. And Abram knew that the only way to secure the promises of the covenant was what? Through obedience. Some of y'all are sitting on promises right now that haven't manifested because you're out here being disobedient. You want the Most High to bless you, but you refuse to follow his laws. Let me make it plain, family. You can't live like a heathen and expect the promises of an Israelite. Period. End of story. Plain and simple, straight to the point. Look at what the Most High says to our people in Deuteronomy 28, verses 1 and 2. Look at this. Deuteronomy 28, 1 and 2.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations on the earth. And all these blessings shall come upon thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
You hear that, Israel? If you hearken to his voice and keep his commandments, then the blessings come. Stop expecting blessings when you're out here breaking laws, living like the nations and ignoring the covenant. Abraham wasn't playing. He knew that if Isaac was going to walk in the promise, he had to be circumcised. That's a sign of the covenant. No obedience, no promise. It's that simple. So let's talk about the number, 8 days old. The Most High didn't just pull that number out of thin air, family. 8 is the number of new beginnings. It symbolizes a fresh start, a new chapter, a resurrection of sorts. Isaac being circumcised on the 8th day was a sign that this was a new era for Abraham and his seed. The promise was here, and it was time to walk in it. But let me ask you something, Israel. Are you ready for your new beginning? Some of y'all are stuck in the old, holding on to stuff the Most High told you to let go of. You want the promise, but you're still holding on to your past, your sins, and your old ways. How can you walk in the new if you're still holding on to the old? Isaac was circumcised on the 8th day because that was the start of what? Something new. The question is, are you ready to start fresh, family? Because if we go over to what Paul says here in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 17, he reiterates this new beginning, this fresh start. Again, that's the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and 17. Whenever you're ready, brother.
Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new.
If you're in Christ, Yahushua, you're a new creature. But what does that mean? It means the old things have to die. Just like circumcision represents a cutting away of the flesh, walking in the promise requires you to cut away the old things that you are holding on to, that's holding you back. It's time for a new beginning, Israel. But you can't start fresh if you are still clinging to the old. And that's just the bottom line right there. So we zero in on verse 5. Abraham was 100 years old. Now, we already touched on this, but let's break it down even further. Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born. By all human logic, Abraham and Sarah should have been retired, sitting back watching Netflix, not raising a newborn, family. But the Most High don't care about your human logic. He don't care about your age. He don't care about your timeline or what society says you should be doing at your stage in life. Some of you have been sitting here thinking it's too late for you. You think because you're 40, 50, 60, or whatever, that the promise has passed you by. But let me tell you something, family. The Most High don't give a damn about your age. If he said it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Abraham was 100 years old, and the man was out here, still fathering nation. What's your excuse? Check this out. Psalm 92 and 14. Psalm 92 and 14. Look what the Most High, through the psalmist, said to you about what you're going to be doing, family.
They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing.
You hear that? Even in your old age, you're still going to bring forth fruit. The Most High don't have an expiration date on his promises, family. You're not too old. You're not too far gone. It's not too late. But you got to let go of that mindset that says my time has passed. No, Israel. Your time is when the Most High says it is. Abraham had to wait until he was 100 to see his promise. Some of you have been waiting for years and you're ready to give up. But the Most High is saying, hold on. I'm not done with you yet. I had to wait 34 years until I came into this truth. 34 years. Some of y'all was even older than me when y'all came into this truth. That's how long you had to wait. Never too late, family. So we go to verse 6. Look at this. God hath made me to laugh. Sarah says this. The Most High took her disbelief, family, her doubt, her hopelessness, and turned it into what? Joy. Some of y'all have been through hell. I know I have. You've been struggling, waiting, praying, and it feels like the Most High forgot about you. But when he moves, when that promise finally manifests, you're going to laugh. You're going to look back at all the doubts, all the fears, all the sleepless nights, and you're going to laugh because the Most High had the last word. Sarah laughed in disbelief when she first heard the promise back in Genesis 18. But now she's laughing in joy because the Most High came through. And not only that, she said, all that here will laugh with me. You see, family, the blessing the Most High brings into your life isn't just for you. When he blesses you, others are going to see it and rejoice with you. The same people who doubted you, the same people who laughed at your situation are going to be laughing with you when the Most High fulfills his promise. Let's go back to Psalm 126. We go back to Psalm 126, but this time we're going to read verse 1 and 2 to give it some context now. So Psalm 126, we're going to read verse 1 and 2. Watch this.
When the Lord turned again the captivity of Zion, we were like them that dream. Then was our mouth filled with laughter, and our tongue with singing. Then said they among the heathen, the Lord hath done great things for them.
When the Most High delivers you, when he turns your situation around, it's going to feel like a dream, family. You're going to be filled with laughter and joy, and even the heathen, even the people who don't believe in your God, are going to have to acknowledge that he's done great things for you. That's the kind of God we serve, family. When we come back in power, when Christ comes back and gives us back the reins of power in this world, family, this is what the heathen going to be saying. They thought we was done. We scattered. We broken. We oppressed. But now we back on top. That's why we're going to be filled with laughter, family. Because the Most High is going to do what he promised us to do. And he promised that he's going to restore us as a nation. But more on that later. Sarah says, all that here will laugh with me. This is the power of testimony, family. Why? Because Sarah's joy wasn't just personal. She said it. That means her testimony was going to bring joy to other people. When the Most High blesses you, family, it's not just for you, as I said before. Your testimony is supposed to bring hope and encouragement to others. When people see what the Most High has done in your life, it's going to make them believe that he can do it in theirs too. That's why I go about with my testimony. And I tell people about my testimony. To bring hope. Like if he can bring an atheist into the truth, what can he do for me? Some of y'all have been blessed, but you're keeping your testimony to yourself. You're out here acting like you did it all on your own, forgetting that it was the Most High who brought you through. Stop being stingy with your testimony, family. The world needs to hear what the Most High has done for you. Your lost brothers and sisters need to hear this, because your story could be the very thing that brings someone else back to what? Faith. Check this out, all the way to the end of the book, Revelation 12 and 11. All the way at the end of the book to see how powerful your testimony is. Revelation 12 and 11.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they that loved not their lives unto the death.
You see this, Israel. The word of your testimony has power. Your testimony can help someone else overcome. So when the Most High comes through for you, don't be silent about it. Share it. Let the world know what the Most High has done in your life, because your testimony is a weapon. And then we go down to Verse number 7, look at this. Who would have said unto Abraham? Sarah is out here saying, who would have thought? She's basically saying, who could have ever imagined that I would be nursing a child at this age? And that's the beauty of the Most High's promises, Israel. When he moves, it'll leave people saying, how did that happen? How did they make it through? How did they get that blessing? Family, the Most High loves to do the impossible. He loves to take situations that seem dead, hopeless, and impossible and flip them into something beautiful. Sarah was 90 years old. Ain't nobody expecting her to be out here nursing a baby. But that's what the Most High does. He takes the unlikely and makes it what? A reality. If we go over to the book of Luke. Luke 1:37. Plain, simple, to the truth. Luke 1:37.
For with God, nothing shall be impossible.
I need y'all to hear this loud and clear. Nothing, I repeat, nothing is impossible with the Most High. Your situation might look dead. It might look hopeless. But let me tell you something. The Most High specializes in the impossible. Whatever you think is too far gone, too broken, too out of reach, he can bring it to life, family, just like he did with Sarah. But this is just the beginning of what the Most High is about to reveal to us in this chapter. We got more lessons to uncover, more truth to dive in, and more promises to grasp. So we're going to read the next verses here. We're going to read verses 8, 9, 10, and 11.
And the child grew and was weaned. And Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abraham, mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son.
All right, we focus on verse 8 here. The child grew and was weaned. Now, this verse might seem simple on the surface, but there's a powerful spiritual lesson here. It says the child grew and was weaned. In other words, Isaac matured, family. He was no longer dependent on his mother's milk. He could eat solid food now. And Abraham threw a feast to celebrate this milestone. Listen up, family. Some of y'all need to get weaned off the milk. You've been in this walk for years, still dependent on the spiritual milk like a baby. But it's time to grow up and handle some solid food. Isaac's weaning symbolizes maturity. And spiritually, we're supposed to be growing up in the Most High, not staying stagnant, not relying on elementary teachings. Yes, some of y'all have gotten the foundation when I first came into this truth, but it's time to grow up. It's time to get off the training wheels, family. To get off these old stale doctrines that have been circulating through the church for decades. We still out here thinking about it. We still talking about it. We still not graduating. You got to progress in this walk, family. You can't just stay in the same spot and expect the Most High to continue to work with you. You got to walk. You can't stay still. Some of y'all have been sitting in the church for years, hearing the same surface level messages, repeating the same prayers, but you haven't grown. You still on the milk, but the Most High is calling you to what? Maturity. He's calling you to get off that baby food and start digesting some real truth. You want to see the promises manifest in your life? You want to walk in the fullness of what the Most High has for you? Then it's time to stop being spiritual infants and start growing up. Get off some of these stale doctrines. Esau white man. Come on, man. Been saying that for how long? All this stuff. Angels having sex with women. Still on this doctrine. Still on it. All these other doctrines. People believing in Trinity, all this crap. The Most High wants you to graduate. Look at what Paul, or the writer of Hebrews, says here. Hebrews 5, 12 through 14. Hebrews 5, 12 through 14. Look at what we have to do.
For the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God, and are become such as have need of milk, and not of strong meat. For everyone that uses milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil.
The writer of Hebrews is calling out Israel, and so am I, for being stuck on the milk. He's saying y'all should be teaching others by now, but you're still stuck on the basics. That's some of us today. The Most High has been feeding you the word for years, but you're still stuck on elementary teaching, still unsure of what's right and wrong. It's time to grow the hell up, Israel. It's time to move on from the milk to the meat. Some people have been in this word for decades, and they still in the same spot. They have not moved from the same spot. They still have the same understanding and are astounded, surprised when all these promises or blessings are not coming in their life. Why should the Most High reward you for staying still? It's time to grow up, family. It's time to leave the basics behind. So Abraham made this great feast. So what does this feast mean? Because it was a milestone, family. He was celebrating a milestone. It was a sign that Isaac was growing, that he was moving into a new phase of life. And in our spiritual walk today, we need to recognize and celebrate those milestones too. When you overcome a struggle, when you break free from a sin that's been holding you back, when you gain new understanding of the word, those are milestones. But here's the problem with you Israelites today in 2024. We don't celebrate our growth. We don't stop to recognize the progress we've made, the battles we've won. We're so focused on what we don't have that we forget to thank the Most High for what he's already done. Some of y'all have come a long way, but you're still complaining because you haven't reached the final destination. Stop and celebrate the milestones, fam. The Most High has been working in your life, but you keep overlooking it because you're too focused on what's next. Look what Paul says in 1 Thessalonians 5 and 18. This is how we're supposed to be, family. Again, that's 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse number 18.
In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you.
Paul is telling us to give thanks in everything. That means even in the small victories, even when you haven't even reached the final goal, give thanks for the progress you have made. Abraham celebrated Isaac's weaning because it was a sign of growth, and we need to do the same in our spiritual journey. So now, in verse 9, look at this. Sarah saw the son of Hagar mocking. So here we go. This is where the drama starts to really unfold, family. Sarah saw Ishmael, Hagar's son, mocking Isaac. Now let's pause here because this is deep. Ishmael, as we've already known in my previous teachings, represents everything that comes from human effort, from trying to rush the Most High's plan. Remember, Ishmael was born because Sarah and Abraham didn't have the patience to wait for the promise. They tried to help the Most High out by bringing Hagar into the mix. And now, years later, you've got Ishmael out here mocking the child of promise. This is what happens, family, when you try to take shortcuts in your walk with the Most High. The Ishmaels, the things you birthed out of impatience, out of disobedience will come back and mock the promises of the Most High in your life. Some of y'all are dealing with spiritual Ishmaels right now. The decisions you have made outside of the will of the Most High. And now they're causing conflict in your life. You tried to create your own blessing, and now it's mocking the real blessing. We go back to Paul. We're going to be going all throughout Paul today. Galatians 4 and 29. Again, that's Galatians 4 and 29.
But as then he that was born after the flesh persecuted him that was born after the spirit, even so it is now.
Paul is breaking it down for us, Israel, right here. Ishmael, who was born after the flesh, persecuted Isaac, who was born after the spirit. There's always going to be a conflict between what's born of the flesh and what's born of the spirit. That's why you can't mix the two, family. You can't expect peace in your life when you've got an Ishmael still running around mocking the promise. So what did Sarah tell Abraham to do? Verse 10. Cast out this bondwoman and her son. Sarah wasn't playing around here, family. She saw Ishmael mocking Isaac, and she said to Abraham, cast him out. Now, before you start thinking Sarah's being too harsh, let me tell you something. Sometimes you've got to cut out what's holding you back. Sarah recognized that Ishmael, representing the flesh, could not coexist with Isaac, the child of the promise. The two couldn't share the same inheritance. And the same is true for us today. You can't expect to walk in the fullness of the Most High promises while you're holding on to things that were birthed out of disobedience. Some of y'all need to cast out the Ishmaels in your life. You've been holding on to people. You've been holding on to past habits and decisions that are causing conflict with the promises the Most High has for you. You're trying to walk in the spirit, but you still got the flesh hanging around, mocking your progress. It's time to what? Cut it off. It's time to say, enough is enough. You can't stay here anymore. Look at what Yahusha said here. God's son. Look at what he said here. Matthew 5, 29 and 30. Matthew 5, 29 and 30. Check this out.
And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that the whole body should be cast into hell. And if thy right eye offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that the whole body should be cast into hell.
Yahusha wasn't playing when he said this. If it's causing you to stumble, cut it off. That's what Sarah did. She saw that Ishmael was a threat to Isaac's inheritance, and she told Abraham to cast him out. Some of y'all need to take a hard look at your life and ask yourself, what do I need to cast out to protect the promises the Most High has for me? So Sarah continues, she says, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be the heir with my son, even with Isaac. Let's make this plain, family. The flesh cannot inherit the promises of the Most High. Ishmael, again, represents everything that's born out of human effort, out of the flesh, out of disobedience. Isaac represents the opposite, the promises of the Most High, born out of faith and obedience. The two cannot coexist. You can't live in the flesh and expect to inherit the promises of the spirit. They are incompatible. Some of y'all are trying to walk in the spirit, but still living in the flesh. You're trying to claim the blessings of Israel while living like the nation around you. You're trying to hold on to the promises of the Most High, but you still got the flesh mocking you on your every move. It's time to make a decision, family. The flesh has got to go. If you want to walk in the fullness of the Most High's promises, let's go back to Galatians. Chapter 5 this time, 16 and 17, and see what Paul is saying right here. Galatians 5, 16 and 17.
This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would.
Paul is telling us straight up. The flesh and the spirit are at war. They're contrary to each other. You can't walk in both at the same time. You've got to make a choice. Are you going to walk in the spirit and inherit the promises, or are you going to stay in the flesh and forfeit your blessings? So we move to the 11th verse. Look at this. This was very grievous in Abraham's sight. Now let's get real for a second. This wasn't easy for our forefather Abraham. It says the situation was very grievous in his sight because of his son. Abraham loved Ishmael. Ishmael was his firstborn. And even though Ishmael wasn't the child of the promise, Abraham still had a bond with him. So when Sarah said, cast him out, it wasn't an easy decision. But sometimes, family, letting go of what's holding you back is painful, even when you know it's necessary. Some of y'all are holding on to people, relationships, and situations that you know are toxic, but you can't let go because you are emotionally attached. You know they're not part of the Most High's plan for your life, but it grieves you to let them go. But let me tell you something. If you want to walk in the fullness of what the Most High has for you, you've got to be willing to let go, even when it hurts. Check what Yahushua said. We go over to Luke 9. Luke 9 and 62. Check what he said here. Luke 9 and 62, whenever you ready, brother.
And Jesus said unto him, no man, having put his hand to the plow and looking back, is fit for the kingdom of God.
Plain and simple. If you're looking back, you're not fit for the kingdom. Abraham had to make a choice. He could have clung to Ishmael out of emotional attachment. He could have. You could cling to your stuff too. But that would have jeopardized the promise. Some of y'all are looking back, holding on to things that are keeping you from moving forward. Let go, family. It's time to move forward. So now we get into the heart of this chapter. The Most High is showing us some real life lessons about obedience, letting go, and walking in the Spirit. These are hard truths, I know, but they're necessary if we want to inherit the promises. So let's keep it rolling. The Most High ain't done with us yet. We're going to read the next verses in Genesis 21. We're going to read verses 12, 13, 14. 12, 13, and 14.
And God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of the bondwoman. And all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And also of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered into the wilderness of Beersheba.
So on 12, let it not be grievous in thy sight. This is right here is the Most High stepping in to reassure Abraham. He sees that Abraham is struggling here with the thought of sending Ishmael away. He says, let it not be grievous in thy sight. In other words, the Most High is saying, I know this is hard. I know this is painful, but don't let it weigh on you too much. I've got a bigger plan. That's the Most High for you, family. He never asks you to let go of something without giving you the strength to do it. I know some of y'all are in situations right now where the Most High is calling you to cut something or someone off, and you're grieving over it. You're struggling with a decision because you're emotionally attached. But the Most High is saying, don't let it be grievous in your sight. I've got a plan that's bigger than your feelings. See, we get caught up in our emotions here. But the Most High sees the big picture. He knows what's better for you in the long run, even when it's hard to see in the moment. Why? How can he see these things? Well, we all know about this. Isaiah 55, 8 and 9. This is why he knows the bigger picture, family. Isaiah 55, 8 and 9.
For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways my ways, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts.
The Most High, family, is reminding us that his ways are higher than ours. We might not understand why he's telling us to go or let go of something, but he sees the end from the beginning, family. He sees it. He knows what's best for us, even when it's painful in the moment. Abraham didn't fully understand why he had to send Ishmael away, but he trusted that the Most High had a plan. So the Most High said unto him, hearken unto a voice. The Most High tells Abraham to listen to Sarah. Now, this is important because sometimes the Most High will speak to you through someone else, through your spouse, through a brother or a sister, through someone you might least expect. Sarah had the spiritual insight to see that Ishmael couldn't stay. But Abraham was too emotionally attached to make the move. So the Most High had to step in and say, listen to her. She's right. Some of y'all out there are missing out on what the Most High is trying to tell you because you're too prideful to listen to the people he's speaking through. You've got folks around you telling you what's right, but you're too caught up in your own emotions, your own attachments to hear it. Sometimes the Most High will send someone into your life to give you the message you need, but it's up to you. I repeat, it's up to you to humble yourself and listen. If we go listen to the words of Solomon, go over to Proverbs 12 and 15. Proverbs 12 and 15 and see what Solomon had to say on this.
The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he that hearkeneth unto counsel is wise.
You see that? The fool thinks he's always right, family, but the wise man listens to counsel. Abraham could have ignored Sarah and let his emotions take over, but the Most High told him to listen. Some of y'all need to humble yourselves out there and take heed to the counsel the Most High is sending your way. It might come from someone else close to you, someone you don't expect, but if it's truth, listen to it. So the Most High continues, and this part is critical. For in Isaac shall thy seed be called. The Most High is making it clear. The promises is through Isaac, not through Ishmael. Isaac is the child of the promise, born through faith in the spirit, while Ishmael represents the flesh again, born out of human effort and impatience. This is a spiritual principle, family, right here, that runs throughout the entire Bible. The Most High's promises are fulfilled through the spirit, not through the flesh. Some of y'all are trying to inherit the promises of the Most High through fleshly means, through your own efforts, your own willpower, your own plan. But listen, the promises of the Most High are only fulfilled through the Spirit. I repeat, are only fulfilled through the Spirit. No amount of work or good deeds can bring about the promises of the Most High. Only He can. You can't work it. You can't force it. The Most High's promises are accessed through what? Faith, through obedience, through the Spirit. We go back to our brother Paul again. Romans chapter 9 this time. We read verses 6 through 8. Again, that's Romans 9, 6 through 8. Check it.
Not as though the word of God hath taken none effect, for they are all not Israel, which are of Israel. Neither because they are the seed of Abraham, are they all children. But in Isaac shall thy seed be called. That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of God, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed.
Paul breaking it down for you right here. Not everyone who is of Israel is truly Israel. Just because someone is a descendant of Abraham in the flesh doesn't mean they're part of the promise. The promise comes through Isaac, family, through faith, through the Spirit. Israel, this is why it's so important for y'all to walk in the Spirit. You can't inherit the promises of the Most High by walking in the flesh. You've got to be a child of promise like Isaac, not a child of flesh like Ishmael. So the Most High continues in verse 13. And this verse right here is a testament to the mercy of Yah. Even though Ishmael wasn't the child of promise, the Most High still promised to make him a great nation. Why? Because he is thy seed. The Most High still did this. Still honored the fact that Ishmael was Abraham's son, even though he wasn't the one through whom the covenant would be established. This right here, family, shows you that the Most High isn't unjust. He ain't cold-hearted like most people claim him to be. Even when we make mistakes, family, even when we've got Ishmaels running around in our lives, things we birthed out of impatience or disobedience, the Most High is still merciful. He doesn't just throw people away. He doesn't just abandon them. Ishmael wasn't a part of the covenant, but the Most High still blessed him because he was Abraham's son. We go over to the book of Psalms. Psalm 103. We're going to read 8 through 10. Again, that is Psalms chapter 103, 8 through 10. Check this out, family.
The Lord is merciful and gracious, slow to anger and plenteous in mercy. He will not always chide, neither will he keep his anger forever. He hath not dealt with us after our sins, nor rewarded us according to our iniquities.
The Most High is plenteous in mercy, family. Even when we mess up, even when we fall short, he don't deal with us according to our sins. He's merciful. Ishmael wasn't even a child of the promise, but the Most High still made him a great nation because of Abraham. That's the kind of mercy the Most High has for us. You can be in and out of this truth, but the Most High don't throw you away. He still has mercy on you to get your stuff together, to bring you back and bless you. That's the God we serve, family. So look what Abraham does in the next verse. He got up early in the morning. Abraham didn't waste time. Once the Most High gave him the instruction, he didn't sit around thinking about it, debating it, or letting his emotions get in the way. He got up early in the morning and did what the Most High told him to do. That's the kind of obedience the Most High is looking for, family. Immediate, no hesitation. Some of y'all are dragging your feet when the Most High give you a command. You know what he's told you to do, but you're sitting on it. You're waiting. You're debating, letting your emotions get in the way. But listen, delayed obedience is disobedience. When the Most High gives you a command, you got to move. Abraham didn't wait until the afternoon. He didn't wait a few days to process it. He got up early in the morning and handled his business. Check it out. Back to Psalms. Psalm 119 this time. In verse number 60. This is the way we got to be when it comes to the Most High. Psalm 119 and verse number 60. Look at this.
I made haste and delayed not to keep thy commandments.
The psalmist is saying, I made haste. That means he moved quickly, family, to obey the Most High's commandments. That's the kind of attitude we need to have today. Stop dragging your feet, Israel. Stop waiting for the right time or for your emotions to catch up. When the Most High speaks, you got to move. So now the Most High, through Abraham, he sent her away. Bam. It's the heavy part right here. Send her away. Abraham had to send Hagar and Ishmael out of there. He had to let them go. This wasn't easy for him. Ishmael was his son, and he had a bond with Hagar. But the Most High had made it clear Ishmael couldn't stay. So Abraham had to let go of what he loved and trust that the Most High had a plan. Some of y'all are in the same position right now. The Most High is telling you to let go of something or someone in your life, but you are struggling because of that emotional attachment. You're afraid of what will happen if you let go. But let me tell you, when the Most High tells you to let go, he's already got a plan in motion. You've got to trust him. Abraham didn't know what would happen to Hagar, Ishmael, but he trusted that the Most High would take care of them. If we go back to Proverbs, chapter 3 this time, we read 5 and 6. Most of y'all already know about this verse. How many times I've quoted it. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. This is how we got to be.
Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths.
Trust in the Most High with all your heart, Israel. Don't lean on your own understanding. Abraham could have leaned on his feelings, on his emotions, but instead, he trusted the Most High. Some of y'all need to stop trying to figure everything out and just trust that the Most High knows what he is doing. That's where your faith comes in, family. So now look at this. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. Hagar and Ishmael ended up in the wilderness. But don't miss this, family. The wilderness is part of the process. The Most High didn't abandon them. He didn't send them into the wilderness to die. He sent them into the wilderness to test them, to refine them, to prepare them for the next phase of their journey. Some of y'all are in your wilderness season right now. And you're thinking the Most High has forgotten all about you. You feel lost. You feel abandoned. But let me tell you, the wilderness is where the Most High does his best work, family. It's where he strips away everything that's holding you back, where he teaches you to rely on him, and where he prepares you for the next level. That's what some of y'all are in right now. Deuteronomy 8 and 2. Deuteronomy 8 and 2. Check this particular verse out right here to show you.
And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldst keep his commandments or no.
The wilderness is a place of humbling, a place of testing. The Most High led our ancestors through the wilderness for 40 years to test their hearts, to see if they would obey his commandments. If you're in the wilderness season, don't despise it. The Most High is refining you. The Most High is humbling you and preparing you for what's next. We're getting into the deep stuff right now, family. The wilderness, obedience, trust. These are all critical lessons for walking in the promises of the Most High. But there's still more to uncover in this chapter. So we're going to keep doing that. We're going to read verses 15, 16, 17, and 18. 15 through 18.
And the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs. And she went and sat her down over against him a good way off, as it were a bow shot. For she said, let me not see the death of the child. And she sat over against him and lifted up her voice and wept. And God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven, and said unto her, what aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God hath heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him in thine hand, for I will make him a great nation.
Look at this, 15. The water was spent in the bottle. This is a powerful symbol right here. Hagar and Ishmael are in the wilderness, and now the water is gone. Water is life, right? And now, in the scorching heat of the wilderness, their immediate source of life is spent. gone. This is where it gets real, Israel, because some of y'all are in a place where your resources are running out. You're in the wilderness season, and the things you thought were going to sustain you, your job, your relationships, your plans, they have dried up. You're looking at an empty bottle and wondering, okay, what now? But let me tell you, when your earthly resources run out, family, it's just the beginning of the Most High's provision for you. See, the Most High sometimes lets the water run out to show you that he's about to step in and do something greater. So you may lose your job because the Most High finna give you a better one. Or put you off in a whole nother area. He may cut you off a relationship because he got a better person for you. He may cut your plans off because he got better and bigger plans for you. When what you have depended on is gone, family, that's when you learn to depend on him. The Most High doesn't need your bottle of water. He's the source of living water. How do we know this? Let's go to John 4 and see what Yahusha, his son, said. John 4:14.
But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him in a well of water springing up into everlasting life.
The Most High Yah, through his son, Yahusha, is telling you that he's the source of living water. When your earthly water is spent, family, he's got water that will never run out. Hagar and Ishmael's bottle was empty, yeah. But the Most High was about to step in and show them that he's the true provider. Some of y'all are in situations where your bottle is spent and you're panicking. Oh no, what am I going to do now? Oh no. But hold on now, because the Most High is about to reveal himself as the source. So this part right here is deep. She cast the child under one of the shrubs. Hagar, in her desperation, puts Ishmael under the shade of a shrub. This is a moment of complete human weakness right here, family. She's given up. She out of ideas. She's out of strength. And she can't bear to see her child die. This is a moment a lot of us can relate to. When you're at the end of your rope and you just don't have any more strength left to keep on fighting. But here's the thing. It's when you're at your weakest that the Most High shows his strength. When you're down to nothing, that's when the Most High steps in and shows you that he is everything. Hagar thought it was over, family. She thought there was no hope left. But little did she know, the Most High was about to step in and turn everything around. Israel, sometimes the Most High lets you get to the end of yourself. He'll let all this stuff dry up so that you can see the beginning of his power. Check out what Paul says here. We go over to 2 Corinthians again. This time we'll be in chapter 12 and read verse number 9. Again, that's the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 12 and verse number 9. Watch this, family.
And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in the infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me.
Paul breaking it down for y'all right there. The Most High strength is made perfect in your weakness. When you're at your weakest, that's when the Most High's power shines the brightest. Hagar thought she was at the end, but the Most High was about to show her that his strength was just beginning. We move to verse 16. She sat down over him. So now look at Hagar right here. She creates some distance between herself and her son. It says she sat a good way off, as it were a bow shot. She's emotionally distancing herself away from the situation because she can't bear to watch her son die. This is a real life picture, family, of what happens when we are overwhelmed by despair, grief. We try to distance ourselves emotionally, mentally, and spiritually from the situation because it's too painful to face. Some of y'all right now are sitting a bow shot away from your problems right here, right now. You're trying to distance yourself from the pain, from the reality, because you can't bear to face it. You think it's over. So you've checked out mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. But let me tell you something. Even when you've distanced yourself from the problem, the Most High is still right there in the middle of it. He hasn't distanced himself from you. You might have given up, but the Most High hasn't given up on you. Turn your books over to Psalm 34. Psalm 34 and read verse 18 for me, brother. Again, that's Psalm 34 and verse 18.
The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and save the such as be of a contrite spirit.
The Most High is close to the brokenhearted family. Even when Hagar distanced herself from her son, the Most High was still right there, close to her in her brokenness. Some of y'all feel distant from the Most High because of your pain. But let me remind you, he's right there. He hasn't left you. He's closer to you in your brokenness than you even realize. And this part right here is powerful. She lifted up her voice and wept. Hagar is at a breaking point right here. And she just cries out. This is real. This is raw. Sometimes you got to stop pretending you've got it all together and just cry out to the Most High. Hagar didn't try to hold it in or keep it together. She let it all out, family. Some of y'all need to stop pretending and just cry out. The Most High isn't looking for polished prayers or well put together words. He's looking for honesty. He's looking for a broken heart that's ready to cry out for help. Look at this verse right here. Let's go to Psalm 18 and 6. Psalm 18 and 6, look at this right here. Proves my point.
There went, Psalms 18 and 6. In my
18 and 6.
distress, I called upon the Lord and cried unto my God. He heard my voice out of his temple, and my cry became before him, even into his ears.
The Most High hears your cry, Israel. Hagar cried out in her distress, and the Most High heard her. Some of y'all have been trying to hold it in, trying to handle things on your own, but it's time to cry out. The Most High is waiting to hear your cry so that he can step in and work on your behalf, family. Stop being prideful. Cry out to him. You can't do this by yourself. Trust me. So now look at this. Verse 17. God heard the voice of the lad. Now Hagar was the one weeping and crying, but it says the Most High heard the voice of the lad. This right here is crucial, family. It means that even though Hagar was the one in despair, the Most High was paying attention to Ishmael, the one who was silent, the one who was vulnerable, the one who was in need. The Most High doesn't just hear the obvious cries. He hears the silent suffering too. He hears the ones who don't know what to say. He hears the ones who are too weak to cry out, the ones who are just lying there waiting. The Most High hears you, even when you don't even have the strength to say a word. Even when you're lying there in the wilderness, he hears your heart. He hears your silent suffering. Ishmael didn't have to say a word. The Most High heard him anyway. That's the kind of God we serve, family. We go back to Psalm 34. We're going to read verse 15 this time. Again, that's Psalm 34 and 15 this time.
The eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ears are open unto their cry.
The Most High's ears, family, are open to the cries of the righteous. He's not deaf to your suffering. He's paying attention, even when it feels like no one else is. Ishmael didn't have to cry out loud for the Most High to hear him, and neither do you. The Most High sees you, he hears you, and he's about to step in on your behalf. So cry out, don't cry out, the Most High still gonna hear you. So the angel of the Most High tells Hagar, fear not. This is a command, Israel. Fear is the enemy of faith. Fear will paralyze your behind. Make you think the Most High has abandoned you. Make you think there is no way out of your situation. But the Most High is saying, fear not, I've heard you. Some of y'all right now living in fear because you don't see the way out. You're afraid because your resources are gone. You're in the wilderness and you feel abandoned. But the Most High is telling you, don't fear. He's heard you. He knows exactly what you need, and he's already working on your behalf. Turn your books over to Isaiah 41. And verse number 10, we're going to read to show you why you don't have to fear. Again, that's Isaiah 41 and verse number 10.
Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. Yeah, I will help thee. Yeah, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness.
The Most High says, I will help thee. He's not leaving you to figure it out on your own. He ain't abandoning you in the wilderness, family. He gonna help you. He gonna strengthen you and uphold you. The Most High's got your back, and he's telling you right now, fear not. Which goes into verse 18. Now, after the Most High tells Hagar not to fear, he gives her another command. Arise, lift up the lad. This is important. After you have received the word of the Most High, after he's given you reassurance, it's time to take action. Hagar couldn't stay sitting in despair, and neither can you. The Most High gave her a promise, but she had to get up and act on it. Some of y'all are waiting for the Most High to move, but he's waiting for you to get up off your behind and take action. We go over to James, the book of James, our brother there, chapter 2, we read verse 17. Again, that's James chapter 2, verse number 17.
Even so, faith, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone.
Faith without action is dead. You can believe all day long that the Most High is going to make a way. But if you're not willing to get up and do your part, your faith is empty. Hagar had to get up and lift her son up. Some of y'all need to get up and lift up what the Most High has put in your hands. Stop sitting in despair. Get up and act on the promise. Finally, the Most High closes this section with a promise. For I will make him a great nation. Even though Ishmael wasn't a child of the promise, y'all, the Most High still had a plan for him. He wasn't forgotten. The Most High's promises are sure. And when he says he's going to do something, you can take it to the bank. Cha-ching! The Most High is faithful to his word, family. If he said he's going to make a way for you, he's going to do it. If he said he's going to bless you, you better believe it's coming. But you've got to get up and walk in that promise. Hagar had to get up and lift up her son, and the Most High fulfilled his promise to make Ishmael a great nation. We already read, he's not a man that can lie. If he said he's going to do it, right? If he made a promise, he's going to fulfill it. Some of y'all have been given promises from the Most High, but you're sitting in doubt because you're in a wilderness season. But let me tell you, family, the wilderness doesn't cancel the promise. The Most High is going to do exactly what he said he'll do. So get up, lift up what he has given you, and walk in the promise. The wilderness is part of the process, but it ain't the end. The Most High still has a plan for you. And he's going to bring you through the season. So don't fear. Don't give up. Trust in the Most High's timing and get ready to walk in his promises. So now we're going to get deeper into this wilderness narrative now and pull out some more jewels from the word. You know, we got to squeeze every bit of truth out of these scriptures. So now we're going to read verses 19, 20. Just 19 and 20 right now. Just 19 and 20.
And God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the bottle with water and gave the lad drink. And God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer.
So look at this right here, Israel. God opened the eyes. Verse 19. Hagar was in the wilderness, thinking it was all over. Her water was spent. Her hope was dried up. And she was ready to watch her son die. But in that exact moment, the Most High steps in and opens her eyes. This is crucial because the well of water was already there, family. She didn't need some miracle to create water out of thin air. The provision was already there. She just couldn't see it until the Most High opened her eyes. Let me break it down for you. Sometimes the solution to your problem is already in front of you. But your spiritual sight is clouded by fear, by doubt, or despair. You're too busy focusing on the problem to see the provision. But when the Most High opens your eyes, you begin to see the way out that's been there all along. The well didn't just appear, family. It was always there. Hagar just couldn't see it until the Most High opened her eyes. Check this verse out right here. We go over to the book of 2 Kings. 2 Kings chapter 6 and verse number 17. Look at what else happened to someone when the Most High opened their eyes. Again, 2 Kings 6, 17.
And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha.
Elisha prayed for the Most High to open the eyes of his servant, to see the spiritual reality that was already there. The angels were surrounding them, protecting them the whole time. But the servant couldn't see it until his eyes was open. The same thing happened to Hagar. The Most High opened her eyes, and she saw the well that had been there the entire time. Some of y'all are in that wilderness season, but you're too blind to the provision that's right in front of you. You're too busy looking at the empty bottle to see the well. Pray for the Most High to open your eyes, family, because the solution to your problem might be closer than you think it is. So let's talk about this well of water. Water, as you know, is life. In the Bible, water represents the Most High's provision, his spirit in his word. So this well wasn't just about quenching physical thirst, family. It was a symbol of the Most High's life-giving power in the middle of a dry, desolate place. Remember, Hagar and Ishmael was in the wilderness. You don't find wells of water in the wilderness unless the Most High puts it there. This well is a symbol of the Most High's provision in places where you least expect it. When you're in the wilderness, the Most High is still your source. When everything seems barren and hopeless in your life, the Most High is still able to provide exactly what you need. Hagar thought she was going to die of thirst, but the Most High had other plans. Check this out right here. We go over to Isaiah 43. We're going to read 19 and 20 right here. Isaiah 43, 19 and 20.
Behold, I will do a new thing, and it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. The beasts of the field shall honor me, and the dragons and the owls, because I give waters in the wilderness and rivers in the desert to give drink to my people, my chosen.
The Most High says he will make rivers in the desert. He gives water in the wilderness to his people, his chosen ones, Israel. That's you and me, black man, black woman. This well wasn't just for Hagar and Ishmael. It's a sign for all of us. The Most High will provide for his people, even in the driest, most hopeless places of your life. He will make a way in the wilderness. So if you are feeling like you are in the desert right now, hold on, because the Most High is about to open your eyes to the well that's already there. Now notice what Hagar does after her eyes are open. She went and filled the bottle with water. This is key right here, family, because it shows us that once the Most High opens your eyes to his provision, you got to take action. The well didn't fill her bottle for her. She had to get up, go to the well, and fill the bottle herself. Some of y'all are waiting for the Most High to do everything for you, and that's not how it works. The Most High provides the well, but it's your job to fill the bottle. This is a lesson, again, in faith and works. The Most High can show you the way out, but if you don't take action, you're still going to be thirsty. Hagar had to take what the Most High provided and do something with it. She couldn't just sit there and stare at the well, waiting for the water to magically appear in her bottle. She had to move. So again, we go back to James 2, and we read verse 26 this time. James 2, verse 26 this time.
For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also.
Again, faith without works is dead. You can have all the faith in the world that the Most High is going to provide. But if you're not willing to get up and act on it, your faith is useless. Hagar's faith came alive when she got up, went to the well and filled her bottle. Some of y'all are sitting by your empty bottle, waiting for the Most High to do something, but he's already provided the well. You got to get your behind up and go and fill your bottle. This next part right here is crucial too. She gave the lad drink. Hagar didn't just fill the bottle for herself. She filled it so she could give her son a drink. This is a lesson for us. When the Most High opens your eyes to his provision and you take action, it's not just for you, it's for the next generation. It's for your children, for your community, for Israel as a whole. You're not just filling your bottle for yourself. You're filling it so that the next generation can drink from what the Most High has already provided. Some of y'all are so focused on your own thirst that you're forgetting about the legacy you're supposed to be leaving behind. The Most High's provision ain't just for you. It's for the ones coming after you. When Hagar gave Ishmael a drink, she was passing on a blessing, ensuring that he would survive and thrive. And what did the Most High say? He would make Ishmael a great nation. That blessing got passed down because Hagar was willing to take action and then share the provision, share the blessing. If we go to Psalm 145, in verse number 4, look at this right here. Psalm 145 in verse number 4.
One generation shall praise thy works to another, and shall declare thy mighty acts.
One generation shall declare the Most High's works to the next. Hagar's act, what she did, of giving her son a drink, was a declaration of the Most High's provision to what? The next generation. Some of y'all are in a position where you've got to start passing down the blessing. Don't let it stop with you. Fill your bottle and then give the next generation a drink so they can continue to work on the Most High. How can you expect your children to know about the Most High if you don't tell them about who he is, about what they need to do? How they going to be able to act like you if you ain't sharing and passing down the bottle? So we go to verse 20. Now look at this. God was with the lad. Even though Ishmael wasn't the child of the covenant, the Most High was still with him. Why? Because the covenant he made with Abram. The Most High doesn't forget his promises. Even though Ishmael was outside the main covenant line, the Most High still provided for him. Why? Because the Most High don't break his word, family. This is a reminder to you here today that the Most High is with our children. He's with the next generation, but they need to be raised up in the knowledge of who they are, that they are part of the covenant people of the Most High. Ishmael grew up in the wilderness, but the Most High was with him the whole time. Your children might be growing up in the wilderness season, but the Most High is still with them. Don't ever forget that. We all know about this next scripture, Proverbs 22:6. What we got to do with our children. Again, that's Proverbs 22 in verse number 6.
Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
You got to train up the next generation, family. Y'all got to stop being lazy about teaching your kids this word. The Most High is with them, but it's your job to make sure they know who they are and what their purpose is. Ishmael grew up to become an archer, a warrior. The Most High has a purpose for the next generation, but they need to be raised in the knowledge of his covenant. So notice where Ishmael grew up, in the wilderness. This wasn't some comfortable, cushy place. Ishmael didn't grow up in luxury. He grew up in a hard, dry place. But the Most High was still with him, and he grew. Some of y'all are waiting for the perfect conditions to grow. But let me tell you something. Growth happens in the wilderness. We in the wilderness right now, man. Growth happening right now with our people. We awakening right now, family. We moving in this walk right now. We scattered to the four corners amongst these heathen right now. It's in these hard places, the dry places, the uncomfortable places that you truly grow. As I told you before, the wilderness was a place of testing, proving, and growth. He's going to humble you here. He's going to test you here. He's going to grow. You're going to grow here. Ishmael's wilderness wasn't a punishment. It was a place of preparation, just like for you. Some of y'all are in the wilderness, and you think that the Most High forgotten you, as I said before. But he hasn't. He's using this wilderness to grow you, family. But you got to do your part to grow. You got to wean yourself off this spiritual milk and start eating some spiritual food. You can't grow off milk. You got to start eating food now, family. So finally, we see that Ishmael became an archer. This is significant. An archer is someone who has mastered a skill, someone who is precise, focused, and able to hit a target from a distance. Ishmael didn't just survive the wilderness, he thrived in it. He didn't waste his time feeling sorry for himself. He developed a skill that will serve him for the rest of his life. Israel, again, the wilderness is not a time for you to sit around and wait for things to get better. That's what a lot of our people are doing today. They've given up. It's a time for you to develop your skills, to master your craft, to become an archer in your own right. The Most High has given you gifts and talents. Well, you got to use the wilderness season to sharpen them. The wilderness is where warriors are made, family. Ishmael became an archer, and it's time for you to become one too. Stop being lazy. The Most High has given you wisdom and knowledge. Hone that knowledge. Sharpen that knowledge. Stay in this word. Don't stop reading the book. Don't cut down on it. Don't get distracted with everything else. Stay on the book. Stay on the word. Teach your children about the word. Teach your children about the wisdom the Most High gave you. That's the only way it can get passed down. If we go over Proverbs 22 and 29 to read Solomon again, more wisdom here. Again, that's Proverbs 22 and 29.
Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men.
A diligent man, one who hones his skills, will stand before kings. Ishmael became an archer, and he was prepared for his future because of the skills he developed in a wilderness. Some of y'all are waiting to stand before kings, but you haven't mastered your craft yet. So use this wilderness right now, this season, to become excellent in what the Most High has given you, family. So we're going to keep on diving on in here, family. We're going to read just verse 21. Watch this.
And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt.
First, let's talk about where Ishmael dwelt. The wilderness of Paran. If y'all didn't know, Paran is a region in the Sinai Peninsula, a dry, desolate area. Now, some of y'all might hear wilderness and immediately think of lack, isolation, or punishment, but hold up. The wilderness is often where the Most High does his best work, as I told y'all before. Ishmael thrived here. He grew up in the margins of society, outside the so-called civilized world. And yet the Most High was with him. This is a lesson for you. We've been living in the wilderness for centuries, family. Scattered, oppressed, living under the thumb of these foreign nations that we in. But don't get it twisted. The Most High is still with us. Even in these dry places, you got to have the faith to understand that. Do not allow the tribulations that you go through to take your faith away, to take your trust away, to bring doubt into your walk. Because if we go over to Deuteronomy 32 and 10, look at what the Most High says about his people. Again, Deuteronomy 32 and 10.
He found him in a desert land and in the waste, howling wilderness. He led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye.
This verse from Deuteronomy right here is talking about Israel in the wilderness, our people, our ancestors. But it applies to Ishmael as well. The Most High finds his people in the wilderness. He leads them, instructs them, and keeps them as the apple of his eye. So even though Ishmael dwelled in Paran, a wilderness, he was still under the protection and guidance of the Most High. And just like Israel in the wilderness, he wasn't abandoned. Now let's get to this next part. His mother took a wife out of the land of Egypt. First off, let's recognize that Hagar was an Egyptian. So it's no surprise that she went back to her people to find a wife for her son. But this raises an interesting point. Egypt has always had a complicated relationship with Israel. Egypt served as both a place of refuge when Joseph and them came in there, and a place of bondage after Joseph died. So if we go to Genesis 12 and 10, look at where it was a refuge to our people. Genesis 12 and 10, when Abraham went there.
And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land.
See, y'all see that right there? We see Egypt right here was originally a place of refuge for Abram and his family during the famine time. This shows us that Egypt, despite its later role as a place of oppression, was initially a place of safety and provision. Hagar, being from there, naturally returned to her roots to find a wife for Ishmael. But make no mistake, this wasn't just a random matchmaking family. There's a deeper lesson about legacy and identity. So we talk about why is it significant that Hagar chose his wife from Egypt. Egypt in the word, in the Bible, often represents worldly power and influence. Our ancestors were enslaved there for 400 years, family. And Egypt is often used as a symbol of oppression and sin. But here's the kicker. Hagar was still connected to Egypt, and she made sure her son, Ishmael, was too. She didn't try to assimilate into the cultures around them. She went back to her roots to find a wife for her son. But while Egypt was historically a place of refuge for Israel at times, it also became a place of bondage. So by choosing an Egyptian wife, Hagar was essentially tying Ishmael's legacy back to Egypt, a nation that, while powerful, was ultimately outside the covenant promises made to Abraham's seed through Isaac. You see the flesh and the spirit again. You see that division. It continues. Even continues through Jacob and Esau. So on and so forth. That division has always been there, family. It's always going to stay there. So you see the contrast between Ishmael and Isaac. Covenant versus blessing. So we get to the meat of the matter. Ishmael's story was always meant to be contrasted with Isaac's. Because both were sons of Abraham, right? But only one was a son of the covenant. Ishmael was blessed, yes, no doubt. But he wasn't a child of the promise. The Most High made it clear the covenant will continue through Isaac, not Ishmael. So what does this mean for us today? It means that not everyone who is blessed is a part of the covenant. We see this all over the world today. Nations that are powerful, wealthy, and blessed, but they aren't a part of the chosen seed. Don't get confused by the temporary blessings of the other nations, because our people see this. They see all the white folks, they got all the money, blah, 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 blah. And they get distracted from this word. And they start wanting to act like them. They start doing the things so they can be like these other nations. But family is temporary. They outside of the covenant. They never going to get the promises that was promised in this book. We're going to get dominion. We're going to get all the money in the end. And they're going to be left with nothing. So this is what the Most High is trying to get you to understand. Stop going after the flesh. Walk in the spirit. Because I tell you, not everyone who comes from Abraham is part of the chosen line. The Most High made his covenant with Isaac, not Ishmael. And that's what we need to understand. So we keep it moving. Back to Genesis 21. We read 22 and 23.
And it came to pass at that time that Abimelech and Phicol, the chief captain of his host, spake unto Abraham, saying, God is with thee in all that thou doest. Now therefore swear unto me here by God that thou wilt not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done unto thee, thou shalt do unto me and to the land wherein thou hast sojourned.
Read 24 too.
And Abraham said, I will swear.
So now here's a powerful moment. Abimelech, king of the Gentiles, comes to Abraham and says, God is with thee in all that thou doest. Family, this is what it looks like when you walk in the promise. Even the heathen recognize that the Most High was with Abraham. This is how it's supposed to be for our people today. The other nations should be looking at us and saying, we see that God is with you. But let's be real, family. Is that what's happening right now? Nope. Why? Because we've been walking in rebellion, living in the flesh, and marrying Egypt. That's what we've been doing, family. That is what we've been doing. We want to be buddy-buddy with the world, with these other nations who don't give a crap about us. They don't care about you, but we still follow after them like Pied Piper. And we wonder why the nations aren't looking at us like Abimelech here is looking at Abraham. They look at us with disgust. They shake their heads. They wag their fingers at us. Give us disgusted looks and everything. Talk bad about us. Call us names and everything. Why? Because we live in like heathen. We've lost our testimony, family. Instead of the nation seeing us as the people of the Most High, they see us as scattered, broken, and oppressed. But that's not the end of the story, family. The Most High is going to restore us. And when he does, the nations, once again, will recognize that we are his people. How do we know? If we go to Isaiah 61 and 9, we'll see this right here. That's Isaiah chapter 61 and verse number 9. Watch this.
And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles, and their offspring among the people. All that see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which the Lord hath blessed.
You see that right there? The nations will acknowledge that we are the seed the Most High has blessed. That's the future for Israel. But we've got to get our house in order first, though, family. We've got to stop living like them and start walking in the spirit. And so notice that Abimelech asked Abraham to swear that he won't deal falsely with him or his descendants. Why? Because Abimelech knows the power of the Most High. He's seen the favor on Abraham's life. We saw it last chapter. And he's not trying to get on the wrong side of that. And this is prophetic, family. In the end, the nations are going to come to Israel and seek peace because they will see the power and favor of the Most High upon us. And that's what's going to happen in the future, family. All these nations are going to come to you. If we go over to Micah 4 and 2, you're going to see this right here. Micah 4 and 2.
And many nations shall come and say, Come, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, and to the house of the God of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem.
So the nations will come to us, seeking peace, seeking to be a part of what the Most High is doing with his people. But right now, we're not there yet. We got a whole lot of work to do, family. We got to get back to walking in the spirit so that the nations once again recognize who we are. How you expect them to treat you with respect when we don't even respect ourselves? That's a question you should ask yourself. We don't even treat each other with respect. We hate our own people. We love the other nations. But when it comes to our own people, nah, I ain't want to deal with that nigga. Nah. That's it. That's what it is. That's what I've seen my whole life. We are all 32 teeth with the other people. But with our own people, we all frowns and scowls. That's what we do with each other. We'll spend hundreds upon thousands of dollars upon their stuff. But when our brothers and sisters out there selling the same thing, we don't spend nothing. We come in with complaints. Oh, the white man over there, yeah, he's selling this for a little bit cheaper, man. Can you go down in price? But I don't see nobody haggling Nike for selling you $120 sneakers. I don't see them going into Foot Locker. Hey, bro, hey, nigga down the street, yeah, it's a little bit. No, I don't see them doing that. I don't see you haggling down the price of a Michael Kors purse. Israelite women. I don't see you going up in there. Nope, you ready to take out the credit card and spend $1,500, even more, for a purse. But your brothers and sisters are selling you the same stuff, but you come in there, hey, can you go down on the price? Why y'all so expensive? Why you driving a $50,000 Mercedes-Benz? You see what I'm talking about here? How we expect the other nations to treat us like Abimelech is treating Abraham here when we can't even do that amongst ourselves. Makes you wonder, don't it? But we keep it going, no, family? We're going to read 25 and 26.
And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water, which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. And Abimelech said, I want not who hath done this thing, neither didst thou tell me, neither yet I heard of it, but today.
So let's start here. Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water. Now we've got to understand the spiritual meaning here. As I've said throughout this entire lesson, water in the Bible often symbolizes life, truth, and the spirit. This well of water represents spiritual sustenance, family. And Abraham wasn't about to let anyone, especially a heathen, take it away from him. You see, Abraham knew his rights, and he wasn't afraid to stand up and speak out when something was wrong. Israel, this is a lesson for you today. Too many of us have allowed the world to rob us of our spiritual inheritance. We've allowed nations to take our well of water, to steal our identity, our heritage, our truth. We've allowed Christianity to come in this book and just shit all over it. That's what they have done. And we have sat back, did nothing. We've been silent. We've been passive and compliant to these heathens. But Abraham's example here shows us what we have to stand up for. We got to stand up for what's ours, family. We have to reprove those nations, them heathen, who have taken what belongs to us. We've got to let the world know that Israel is rising and we're reclaiming our inheritance. And boy, are we doing that today, family. Slowly but surely, that is happening today. The nations don't know what to make of it. We are reproving them for taking our stuff. We are telling them, fake Jews, you ain't the people. We are. The world is now being witness to this, family. We're taking back what's ours. This whole thing is playing out once again today. If we go over to Isaiah 42 in verse number 22. Again, Isaiah 42 and verse 22. Look at what the Most High says about our people here.
But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith, restore.
You see that right there, family? We've been robbed and spoiled, and no one is saying restore. But that's because we haven't taken our rightful place yet. We've been too comfortable in our captivity. I see it all the time. We've been too willing to accept the lies that have been fed to us. I've seen that all the time. But guess what, family? The time is coming, and it's already here, when Israel will rise and reprove the nations for what they have taken from us. We've got to start saying restore. And what are we doing? What am I doing? This past year, I've been doing this. I've been telling us to restore. I've been telling us to get back to this word. This is happening, family. What we are reading is happening again. We are starting to wake up and reprove these nations for what they have stolen from us. And it's only going to get stronger. That reproof is only going to get bigger, louder, until the whole world hears that we are the people of God, that we are the Most High's chosen. The covenant is ours, and ours alone. That's what's coming, family. So we dive into the significance of this well of water. Like I said before, water, life, truth. In the context of Abraham and Israel, this well right here is symbolic of the spiritual inheritance that the Most High has given us through the covenant. It's the truth of who we are, the blessings promised to us, and the dominion we're destined to have over the earth. We're going to rule the whole family. We're going to rule the whole planet, family. The whole planet is going to be ours. That's what the other nations don't want to hear. They've been in rulership for so long, they can't understand that somebody else is going to take their place. But it's going to happen, family. But what did Abimelech's servants do? They violently took it away. This is exactly what's happened to us, family. The nations have violently taken away our heritage, our knowledge of self, and our connection to the Most High. They've replaced it with lies, false doctrines, and Eurocentric religions all around the world. They've stolen our well, and now we're out here spiritually thirsty, wandering in the wilderness like Ishmael, when we should be drinking from the living waters of our true inheritance. If we go over to Jeremiah 17 and 13, look at what the Most High said through Jeremiah, the prophet. Again, that's Jeremiah 17 and verse 13.
O Lord, the hope of Israel, all that forsake thee shall be ashamed, and they that depart from me shall be written in the earth, because they have forsaken the Lord, the fountain of living waters.
We've forsaken the fountain of living waters, family. We've traded the truth of who we are for the lies of the nation. But the Most High is calling us back to this well, family, back to the truth, back to our inheritance. It's time to reclaim what's ours. It's time to stop believing in a BS, family. It's time to stop being distracted by all the stuff that's happening out there. It's time to get back in this word. It's time to read this word. When have you last read this word? Some of y'all books are dusty. But you claim to be walking in the truth. So this next part here, Abimelech's response. I wot not who hath done this thing. Isn't that just like the other nations today? They act like they don't know who's responsible for our condition. They play dumb. They have no idea of how we ended up at the bottom of society, oppressed and scattered. Go out there and ask Billy Bob and Karen out there. Why we like this? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what could have happened to why you guys can't make it. I don't know. You guys should just strap up your bootstraps or whatever. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps like we have. They play ignorant, family. They do this all over the earth. They know, but they don't want to acknowledge it, family. Don't be fooled by them. The nations know exactly what they have done. They have participated in our downfall, and they have profited from it. But here's the thing. Abimelech respected Abraham. He knew the Most High was with him. So when Abraham confronted him, he didn't argue or make excuses. He knew he had to make things right. In the same way, the nations are going to have to make things right with us. And boy, will they. Trust me. When the Most High get back, he going to make it right. They may act like they don't know, family, but the Most High is going to force them to acknowledge the truth. Look at what these other nations have done. Psalm 83, 3 and 4. Look at this. Look at how we've been scattered from the get-go, family. These are talking about the nations before them, before us, way before. But these other nations are acting in the same spirit. Psalm 83, 3 and 4.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
The nations, family, have taken crafty counsel against us. Back then and even today. They've conspired to keep us in the dark about who we are, to cut us off from our heritage like they have done so well, so that the name of Israel would be forgotten. But guess what? The Most High has always preserved the remnant. And now the time is coming when Israel will not only be remembered, but we will be restored to our rightful place as the rulers of this earth. Hallelujah for that. We keep it moving, though. We almost done, no family. 27 through 30, Genesis 21. We almost done. I hope you guys are understanding this word today. I pray that you guys are seeing what I am dishing out. Whenever you're ready, brother. 27 through 30.
And Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them unto Abimelech. And both of them made a covenant. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, what mean these 7 ewe lambs, which thou hast set by themselves? And he said, for these 7 ewe lambs shalt thou take of my hand, that they may be a witness unto me that I have digged this well.
So y'all see it right there. Look at this process, family. Abraham doesn't just reprove Abimelech and leave it at that. He makes a covenant with him. But not just any covenant. Abraham gives sheep and oxen as a sign of this agreement. What's the significance of this? Sheep and oxen were used for sacrifice in the Bible. And sacrifice always symbolizes atonement and restoration. Israel, family, we have to understand the importance of covenants. The Most High works through covenants throughout this whole book. And he's made an everlasting covenant with us through our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But here's where it gets deeper. Yahushua is the ultimate sacrifice that sealed this new covenant, ensuring that we, as Israel, will inherit the promised kingdom. This covenant is unbreakable, family. No matter what the Christians and all these other people say about them being spiritually Israel, this covenant is for us. Blood. Blood. It ain't for them. Unbreakable. Just like the one Abraham made with Abimelech. And just, if you don't know who these covenants are for, let's give them a reminder, brother. Jeremiah 31, 31 through 33. To remind the Christians and all these other people who keep trying to take the covenant away from us and give it to everybody, let's remind these heathen and some of our own people who the covenant is for. Jeremiah 31, 31 through 33.
Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it on their hearts, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people.
How hard is that, family? This is the new covenant for Israel. That's you, so-called black man, so-called black woman. It's not about the law written on stone, but the law written in our hearts now. This is the spiritual restoration of our people that's happening right now, but we got to acknowledge it and walk in it. So now look at this. Abraham sets aside 7 ewe lambs as a witness. We know that in the Bible, the number 7 represents completion and perfection. So what's Abraham saying here? He's declaring that this well, this inheritance, this truth belongs to him forever. It's a complete claim. It's sealed, family. This is what the Most High is doing with our people today. He's restoring us to our inheritance. And it's a complete restoration. The covenant is being reestablished. And the truth of who we are is being revealed to the world. We are the true Israelites. And this is not a temporary claim, it's eternal. The Most High is setting aside his 7 ewe lambs as a witness that this well of living water belongs to Israel forever. Now check this. Back in the end of the book again. Revelation 21:6. Look at this. Revelation 21:6.
And he said unto me, it is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely.
Right there. It's already done, family. He said it's done. It's done. The work of restoration is complete, family. The fountain of the water of life is ours freely, but we got to claim it. We've got to stop living like we're still in the wilderness and start walking in the fullness of the promise. And we go on to the last verses, 31 through 34. We call it a day. 31 through 34.
34.
Vote, nigga.
Wherefore he called that place Beersheba, because they there swear both of them. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech rose up and Phicol, the chief captain of his host, and they returned to the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba, and called there on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham sojourned in the Philistines' land many days.
Let's wrap this up by looking at the name Beersheba. It means well of the oath, or well of the 7. This is where Abraham and Abimelech made their covenant, and it's significant because Beersheba becomes a central location for the people of Israel later on in this book. It represents the place of promise, the place of covenant, the place of blessing. Family, the Most High has given us our own Beersheba, our own well of the oath. The covenant he made with our forefathers is still in effect, and it's time for us to reclaim it. We've wandered in the wilderness for far too long. The nations have stolen our well long enough. It's time to return to Beersheba and call on the everlasting God, just like Abraham did. If we go over to Isaiah 51:3, check this out right here. Isaiah 51:3.
For the Lord shall comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places, and he will make her wilderness like Eden, and her desert like the garden of the Lord. Joy and gladness shall be found therein, thanksgiving and the voice of melody.
So the Most High is going to make our wilderness like Eden, family. He's going to restore what was stolen. He's going to bring us back to the well, back to the covenant, back to the promise. So we focus on this 34 real quick. Watch this. So Abraham sojourned in the Philistines' land many days. So what does it mean that Abraham is sojourning here? To sojourn means to live somewhere temporarily. You're not settling down like it's your final destination. Abraham wasn't putting down permanent roots in the land of the Philistines. He was there for a time, but he knew this wasn't his final stop. His ultimate promise from the Most High was the land of Canaan, the promised land. Think about that for a second, family. We're sojourning right now. This world we live in, this system, these nations we're scattered in, it's all temporary. We're not meant to settle down here like it's our final destination. We're waiting for the kingdom, the true promised land. But while we wait, we've got to live in the midst of those who don't belong to the Most High. Check this out. We go to Hebrews 11. Real quick. Hebrews 11. We read 9 and 10. This is a parallel to what we're doing right now, family. This book is not dead like the heathen say. This book is alive because we are living the exact same thing that Abraham is doing. Hebrews 11, 9 and 10. Whenever you're ready.
By faith you sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which had foundations, whose builder and maker is God.
So this verse right here reminds us that Abraham lived by faith, knowing that the land he was in wasn't his permanent home. That's how you got to be today, family. He was looking forward to the city built by the Most High. That's what we're doing right now. That's what we're supposed to be doing, at least. We're sojourning in a land that isn't ours, surrounded by nations that don't worship our God. But we live by faith, knowing that our inheritance is coming. So now let's talk about the fact that Abraham was living in the Philistines' land. The Philistines were heathens, as we know, straight up. They didn't follow the laws of the Most High. They had their own God, and they didn't have any covenant with Abraham's God. And yet, Abraham survived among them. He thrived, even in the midst of a foreign people, which is a lesson for us today. We're surrounded by these heathens, by nations that don't serve our God. We're living in a world that's hostile to the truth of who we are and what we stand for. But like Abraham, we've got to learn how to stay strong in the midst of it. The Most High gave Abraham the wisdom to navigate living among the Philistines without losing his identity, without compromising his faith. If we go to Jeremiah 29:7, look what the Most High tells us to do when we are in these heathen lands. Jeremiah 29:7.
And seek the peace of the city, whether I have caused you to be carried away captives, and pray unto the Lord for it. For in the peace thereof shall ye have peace.
This verse in Jeremiah right here tells us that while we are living in these foreign lands, we're supposed to seek peace, not to assimilate, but to maintain our faith while praying for peace where we are. Just like Abraham in the land of the Philistines, we can live among the heathens without losing who we are. But a lot of our people, yeah, right, they have lost out on who we are, on who they are as a people, who they are in the eyes of God. We have lost that. We're not supposed to come like them, but we can survive and even thrive until the Most High redeems us, until he sends his son to redeem us and bring us back into our true inheritance. And finally, we look at this phrase, many days. Abraham didn't just pass through the Philistines' land. He stayed there for a long time. This wasn't a quick stopover, family. He had to learn how to live in a foreign land for an extended period, all while holding on to the promises of the Most High. That's where a lot of us are right now, Israel. We've been sojourning in these foreign lands for what feels like too many days. And boy, I tell you, it feels like too many days. But here's the thing, though. The test of time is part of the journey. The Most High doesn't always deliver on his promises overnight, as I've told you in the beginning. Sometimes we got to wait. Sometimes we got to hold on to the promise for what seems like an eternity, knowing that the Most High is faithful and will deliver, just like he did for Abraham. Look what the psalmist says if we go to our final scripture, Psalm 27:14. Psalm 27:14. And it says, wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. This verse is encouraging you, family, to wait on him. Yeah, it's tough, I know. Yeah, we're tired of sojourning in these foreign lands, surrounded by a people who don't know our God. I understand that. But just like Abraham, we've got to wait. We got to be strong and trust that the Most High will come through. And that's what he's going to do for y'all, family. That's what he's going to do for you. The Most High is gathering us. We've been scattered, but now he's bringing us back. The well of water is ours. The covenant is ours. The promise is ours. It's time to wake up, family. Reclaim what's ours and walk in the fullness of our identity. As what? As what? The true Israelites. Yahushua is coming back to establish his kingdom. And we, Israel, are going to rule alongside of him. But we've got to be prepared. We've got to be spiritually ready So let's keep studying, keep praying, and keep walking in the spirit of the Most High Yah. Reclaim your inheritance, walk in this covenant, and prepare for the return of our King. Shalom, family. With that, I end my lesson. Our praises to the Most High Yah for allowing me to impart this wisdom upon you today. It was good. I hope you guys were spiritually edified as I was. Y'all willing, next week we're going to pick up in Genesis 22. Until then, I pray you guys have a good rest of your week, rest of your Sabbath, a good week. And y'all willing, I will see y'all next time. All praises to the Most High Yah. Shalom.